Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our today's discussion, which I promised to discuss why 2022 elections will be nullified. In today's discussion, I want to talk about a number of things, but before we go deeper to our today's discussion, I want to point out one thing. This is when you read Hans Morgenthau book on politics among nations, in what he has depicted as six principles of political realism in his handbook, Hans Morgenthau speaks about a number of things, and I want just to pick two things from his book to be able to explain the political direction that our country is taking. One of the principles, and that is principle number 2, Hans Morgenthau talks about national interest, and he says that national interest is defined in terms of power. So, talking about national interest being defined in terms of power, it describes that what the majority of the people in the nation wants must be done by all means, regardless of who may be popular or who might have sold his policies in the best way possible. And therefore, Hans Morgenthau explains that politics is based on objectives, laws, and these objective laws are based on human nature. In that human nature is that they will be able to describe the society and the rule of law based on a particular specific aspect. And because states are governed by human, according to Hans Morgenthau, human nature have some universal trait. This universal trait describe the politics of the day. Why 2022 election will be nullified? I want to give you 5 reasons why I think 2022 general elections will be nullified. But before I get to the deeper analysis of the same, I want to take this opportunity to thank my viewers and appreciate your contribution in the topic that we discussed on Sunday. I also take this opportunity to request our new viewers to subscribe to our channel so that anytime we are uploaded any new video, you'll be able to get the update on time. Now, why do I think that the 2022 general election will be nullified? You can take it to the bank today, and I assure you these elections will be nullified because of the following reasons. Number 1, when you look at the projection of the pollsters currently, now this projection does not give a clear cut of who will be a winner of the 2022 general election. An opinion poll released by IRS just 2 days ago showed that the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto will win this election by around 53.5%. However, 2 days ago, another opinion poll released by TIFA and Mizani Africa showed that Raila Amolo Odinga will win the election, however, with not much margin. And so when you look at those projections, among other things that have been depicted in those projection is the projection of people who are going to vote during this general election. The projection of voters, even as estimated by other political analysts, shows that around 15 million people are likely to vote in this general election. That is going by the previous elections, and historically the number of people who would vote will grow to a specific level based on the historical projection. That is how many people voted in 2017, how many people voted in 2013, how many people voted in 2007, like that, going back. And so when you look at this percentage that have been mentioned to be may be able to vote come 9th August, you realize that the numbers are largely divided. And as per the projection, while the winner is expected to get above 8 million votes, this is not going to be possible. It's not going to be possible because the voting pattern and the battleground clearly shows a struggle between the two main candidates, which may not give one a clear win over the other. Number two reason why this election may be dissolved is about the company that was given the tender to print the ballot election. This company has been surrounded by a number of controversy, and when you look at the history of the company, you realize that the company did not successfully provide service for the Ugandan election, which has casted a lot of doubt on its ability to lead the Kenyan election. The company is also believed to have failed to give proper result, and the results were manipulated in Venezuela, and therefore causing a lot of confusion in as far as election results are concerned. Number three factor that may lead to nullification of this presidential election, is the controversy or the saga involving the three Venezuelans. When we were being updated on the three Venezuelans, we got to learn that this Venezuelan had some information or some materials which at one point Wafula Chebukati claimed were IDC materials, strategic material. But later on, after pressure from the public and the police and the DCI, Wafula Chebukati changed the tune and said these were non-strategic material. However, when you look at the material that the Venezuelan had, among which were the stickers, and these stickers were raising a lot of suspicion, owing to the fact that about 8 out of the 10 out of 10 to 11 materials that these people were having were aimed at specific region. And that is why the DCI raised an alarm and made a follow-up on the same. I may not go into the nitty-gritty part of it because already the issue has been resolved, but key things that emerged during the interrogation of the Venezuelan, one was about the stickers, which brought a lot of suspicion. Two, about the passwords that were taken from the Venezuelan. And three, another issue that came up strongly was about the Form 34A, which had been printed in duplicate. This already has set a stage for contention in the presidential ballot, which the three items that are mentioned are very sensitive to any presidential election. Number four, Chebukati confusion also puts in doubt the 2022 general election. At one point, Chebukati was heard saying this. At another point, Chebukati changed tune and talked about something different. This confusion, if a presidential candidate has good lawyers who can argue their points out, they can use it to nullify and present it to court to nullify the 2022 general election. Number five, which is a very strong point, and I want to emphasize on this. If you can remember very well, in the 2017 verdict to nullify the presidential election, the Supreme Court President David Maraga made a verdict, and in his verdict, he made a statement that became popular at the time. And I want to quote Maraga's statement. Maraga, in his statement, said that the greatness of a nation lies in its fidelity to its constitution, and the strict adherence to the rule of law, and above all, the fear of God. This statement was made in regard to what became more popular as illegalities and irregularities. And therefore, when I was talking about the Venezuelan, when I was talking about Smartmatic, it brings us back, or it takes us back to the irregularities and illegalities that were seen in the 2017 general election. It is because of this that the general election of 2017 were nullified, and the Supreme Court was very clear that if these issues were not going to be dissolved again, there was no doubt that any other election would be nullified. And so someone would have a lot of questions to ask about the preparedness of the IEBC to deliver a free, fair, and credible election. There's no doubt that up to now, a perfect lawyer has already identified a number of reasons that he may take to court to seek to nullify the general election. And mostly, when you look at what has transpired on the road towards the general election, you realize that we have had a lot of controversy which has surrounded the IEBC to the point that now Chebukati and the CEO, that is Hussein Marjan, have now shied away from the media because they are not sure of the information they are going to give to the media. And anytime they are briefing the media, they contradict each other, if not contradicting themselves, and hence creating a stage for lawyers or any presidential candidate to prepare to go to court to nullify this election. So in summary, I've been able to talk about 5 things that are likely to lead to nullification of the 2022 general election. Number 1, I've talked about the projection of voter being at 15 million, and 15 million may not give a clear-cut difference between the winner and the loser in the presidential election of 9th August. Number 2, I've talked about Smartmatic company, which was given the tender to print presidential ballot papers, and has been surrounded with a lot of controversies, including the Ugandan and Venezuela election. Number 3, I've talked about the 3 Venezuelans who are brought in the country and the controversy surrounding this Venezuelan. Number 4, I've talked about Chebukati and the press briefing that have failed in several cases and contradicted each other, leading to various presidential candidates seeking attention and seeking clarification on a specific aspect. Number 5, I've talked about the illegalities and irregularities as stipulated by Maraga, which are clearly being seen in the road towards this election. So ours as citizens and Kenyans is just to ensure that peace prevails. And the message that I'll give you today is that as you move closer to the voting day, vote wisely, choose the right leader, don't be motivated or don't be swayed by the web. Make a decision that you'll not regret at the end of the day. Otherwise, I want to wish you a blessed day, and thank you.